Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at theDove.us.
Welcome back to Focus Today. Steve Johnson here with you, along with ZarinaJensen, who is kind of with Operation Shoeboxes, either 2 or 3 years, not exactly sure, but she'll tell us. And you actually were a recipient of one of these shoeboxes, right?
I was,
okay,
yeah.
Let me just, before we get into that, and I'm interested to know how all that came about. Operation Shoebox, in case you're not familiar with it, it's a division kind of Samaritan's Purse, all right, you know, and we've been a part of that, where you'll see shoeboxes that you make for kids, boys, girls, certain ages, and then they're all amassed in southern Oregon and in northern Oregon and wherever you might be, really, and then they're shipped out to different parts of the world to give them as Christmas gifts. I'm really giving you the Reader's Digest version of all of this, but we have thousands of them that are sent from Oregon to parts around the world. And then I was able to, last year, about in November, I think it was, head out to actually Ecuador, and we were able to give out these boxes, some of them who very well could have come from southern Oregon and the rest of the state, to the kids in Ecuador. And what I thought was interesting is a lot of the kids who got these boxes were from public schools, not just private schools. And even with a socialistic government like they have in Ecuador, they're able to have Christian groups go in and talk to them about it, which I thought, that's pretty wild. I mean, that's different. You wouldn't allow that here. So you were a recipient of one of these boxes, right?
I was.
And where were you when you got this box?
I was in a Central Asian country.
Wow.
Yes.
So we're talking thousands of miles away, where obviously Samaritan's Purse had an outpost there where they did this, I suppose, every year, right? So how old were you?
Yeah, I was 6 or 7.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, what were you told? You're going to be getting these boxes, and you didn't know what that was about, I suppose?
Yeah, well, okay, it was 2 weeks before my birthday when I had received them, and this guy knocks on the front of our door and asks to see if he can distribute these boxes, and we as children didn't know, you know,
what's going on?
We
yeah,
just
boxes,
had no idea, and so
yeah.
it was more of a, this guy just comes and says, can I just distribute these boxes? I just remember the pile of shoe boxes in his hand. So
did he want to give them to you, or did he want to have you help him distribute them, or
he was asking the teacher, our teacher that was taking care. I was born in an orphanage, or not born in an orphanage, but I was basically I grew up
living
in an orphanage.
In one? Okay.
And so he asked the teacher to see if he could possibly distribute the boxes, and so he wanted to pass them out to the kids.
Gotcha. And you were one of those kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that just was like, okay, and so we open up the boxes, and I just remember before I opened mine, I looked around my friends, and I was like, oh, they seem to like this, and all their faces lit up, and then finally it came to my turn, and I opened my box, and right there on the box was a stuffed bumblebee, and box, and I just remember like holding it for the first time and thinking, wow, like I haven't been forgotten, because it made me think of my birth mom, and it made me think that she was going to come back, and it made me think that just a whole bunch of like encouraging thoughts, and just thinking like, wow, she's going to come back, and so it was really, really sweet.
Now this is interesting, because I think the reaction that you have is the reaction that I saw in a lot of those kids who were kind of like, first of all, they're wondering, who are these people who came that are standing around them, and why are they giving me this thing? And that sounds like that was kind of your idea. You didn't really know this was going to be happening, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of occurred.
Exactly.
And were the rest of your schoolmates also wondering, what is this? I don't know, but I like what's inside, kind of a thing?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I like, maybe they had told us, but I really had no clue.
There was no connection there, yeah. Well, hey, you're 6, you're 7, whatever the age
exactly.
is. So, all right. You had, obviously, there was an emotional connection to a whole lot of things. I know that within a lot of those boxes are something that has to do with who Jesus is and all the rest. Did you see something in there, and did that make a connection?
The only connection it had was for my mom. This gave me a lot of things to look forward to, and when it came down to it, about a few years later, I was adopted into a family. Into a Christian family, and so from then on, I kind of grew up in that Christian home, and it didn't really hit me until I was 15, and at that point I was able to look back.
But you do remember that one instance that took place?
Yes, definitely do. So I was able to look back and think the Lord had just orchestrated every part from the moment I was born to the time I received that box to the day I'm here now in the family. So.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now, obviously you got here, and I'm sure that's another story as well. But one thing that I find fascinating is the story that you have reminds me of two of the guys. They were two boys at the time, but they were like in their 20s when they talked to us, and they had a similar reaction to what you had, in that they were like 10 and 11, I think, and they actually became Christians through the shoe boxes, because I don't know if there was something in the box or they started a conversation with the people, or however that worked out. I imagine in every place it's a little bit different, but the impact was, their reaction was, there's somebody out there who gave me this box that I didn't ask for, and they turned it even one more step to say, there must be somebody out there who loves me. Now, it's not that they didn't have a loving family. I think they may have, but I think it showed that connectivity, that somebody far away who I haven't really personally met still has that connection with me. And it sounds like that's very similar to your reaction. I mean, what this shows me is that this is a universal reaction to these shoe boxes, that we may think, oh, we're doing a nice little thing, and this will really be nice for them to have a good Christmas. But you're saying this actually can have a huge impact on your entire life.
Yes, I fully agree with that. It just sets, like, you know, at that point I was introduced to the term of hope and having so much to look forward to and stuff like that. And I don't think it was just me. Like, I can imagine what the other kids thought and what they had going through their minds and thinking, wow, like, I'm not forgotten. And that was my first thought, and thinking, my mom hasn't forgotten about me, she's going to come back. And so it really does instill that hope in you and into the other kids that, you know, may have a loving family, but like just don't have much. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, so are you working now directly with Operation Christmas Child?
Yes and no. It's like part-time.
You are a conundrum a little bit here and there. But you're working in kind of helping to certainly further the message of how important this is.
Yes. Yeah, that is definitely my job.
That's amazing. Well, you know, if that doesn't inspire somebody right there, I'm not sure what actually would, outside of all of that. Those people, if you can think about it, realizing that when you were 6 or 7 and it wasn't until a few years later, do you have any information or any knowledge about how the boxes may have impacted some of your schoolmates back then too? Did you see a similar reaction, that they're thinking there's hope as well, that somebody loves me, or is it a different situation for everybody, do you think?
I feel like it's a different situation with everybody, but still then I feel that they do definitely understand, maybe at a better level, or maybe are introduced, if they have never understood it, to the term of hope. And just having, because we were orphans, we didn't have a family, and so receiving a box that someone packed is definitely something that I feel that the kids would just be able to look at and be like, wow, like, they thought of me. Like, and the fact that it wasn't someone they had called up, like you said, it wasn't someone like, hey, I need a shoebox this year, like, filled with the gifts. I don't think we had an idea that people did that. I don't think we were under just the realization that people did that for us or for those that were in need. So I definitely think it really did change their view, but I don't remember like asking him, be like, hey, what do you think about this, or whatever. But I can see.
Do you suppose that if you hadn't received that shoebox, your life would have been impacted in a whole different way, or not impacted at all, maybe?
I honestly, I feel like if I had never received that shoebox, I feel like I would not have the I mean, with that shoebox, I was able to be reminded of my birth mom and had things to hope for. So without that shoebox, I feel like I would have never been introduced to, you know, looking forward to things and looking forward to good things, because I was just so used to being in an orphanage that had pretty much nothing. Like, we used, you know, everything that this orphanage had. We shared toothbrushes, we shared, you know, showers, we shared clothing. Like, growing up in that, I just got so used to it, and you really didn't have much to look forward to. And so with this shoebox, that was the time when I was just like, whoa, like it's just amazing. Yeah.
That's incredible. And I think that shows that everything you put in that shoebox could have a huge impact, whether it's a toothbrush, like you're saying, or a bumblebee.
Yes.
Is that what you got?
Yep.
Wow. That is significant. Well, thanks very much, ZarinaJensen, a recipient of a shoebox and the impact seen years later. We've heard that story before, and I'm sure that that'll happen again as people are getting ready for getting their shoeboxes ready this year. That I think will put a whole new emphasis. Everything we put in, we're going to realize could have some sort of an impact that we may not ever realize. Yeah. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks for joining us on Focus today, and continue to join us. You just never know what you're going to see on this program, so tell your friends about it here on the Dove.